Hi everyone, in this video, I will walk you through how to add orders to workflow. Orders are nothing but triggers that causes the execution of workflows. Orders can be added on demand and will be executed independently from the daily plan.
Alright, let's jump in and see how to add an order.
For that, log in into your job cockpit using your credential.
First, go to the Workflow tab at the top, then navigate to Folder option and expand Folder section from the left navigation panel. Now, navigate to your desired folder. Here I am using User folder. Click the arrow next to the User folder and all workflow will show up in center panel. Here I am using Context Video folder. Let's select the workflow named Sample Context Video Add Order Workflow. To add an order, either use Action menu and select Add Order, or just click plus icon next to the workflow. This will open Add Order pop-up window. This pop-up window allows you to configure how and when workflow should run. If you're fine with default values, you can simply click Submit to run it immediately. But let's quickly explore all fields. Click on Show More option and you see the Add Order window expands and provides more field to configure your order. Add Order window is divided into multiple sections such as timing, identification, dependencies, scope, advanced options, variables, and bulk operation. Each field also includes tooltip that provides a quick explanation of related options. Also, there are glossaries which defines the term. Apart from tooltips, the context help represented by eye icon provides more detailed information and can guide you to the product knowledge base if you want to explore the feature further. Moving ahead, let's start with timing section. Here we have start time. Now, here where you decide when the workflow should start. If you select now, it runs immediately. If you select specific date option, it lets the order start at specified date and time. If you select relative to current time, means the order will start with an offset of hours, minutes and seconds from the current time. Example 30 seconds, it means 30 seconds later. 15 minutes, 15 minutes later. If we select 1 hour, 15 seconds, 1 hour, 3 seconds, so 1 hour, 3 seconds later from now. And if user select no start time, that means the order will not start but will be available in the pending state and can be assigned a start time later on. For now, let's continue with the now option. Next is ignore admission time. This option allows the order to bypass scheduling restriction defined in the workflow. Normally, jobs can be configured to run only on specific days or within specific time windows. If an order arrives outside those allowed time, it does not start immediately. Instead, it waits until the next valid time slot. When you enable this option, the order ignores those time restrictions completely. The job starts immediately even if it's outside the allowed schedule. Now, moving to identification section. Here we have order name. The order name is optional and helps you identify the order later. The order name can be used to search for orders, for example, in history view. Let's name it first order. Moving ahead, we have dependencies section. Here we have notice space key. If your workflow has dependencies based on notices, then a daily plan date can be specified to which dependencies will be resolved. By default, it uses current date, but you can also select a past date if a plan exists for that date or even a future date. Let's continue with the default value. If you want to understand more about dependencies and notice space key, you can watch a separate YouTube video for that topic.
Now let's move to the scope section. Scope section allows us to control where an order starts and where it ends in a workflow. This is useful when we want to execute only a specific part of a workflow instead of running the entire workflow. Before we configure these options, let's first look at a workflow. Navigate back to our workflow view. Cancel this window from here. Click on pencil icon. The workflow name is, and this opens up. As you can see, the workflow contains a try-catch block. Inside try block, we have three instructions: post notice, node 2 and node 3. These instructions are executed sequentially. Workflow also contain catch block. Inside catch block, we have finish and a fork block with parallel branches 1 and 2, branch 1 and 2. Now let's return to our add order window. The first option is block position. Block position allows us to select a block within workflow such as try catch or fork join or lock instruction. In our workflow, we have try block name and catch block. Let's select try block. By selecting this block, we are limiting the order to the instruction inside the try block. As you see, the try block contains the instructions post notices node 2, node 3. Now, the start position and end position will refer only to these instructions. The next is start position before instructions. This option specifies instruction from which order should start execution. Since we selected the try block, we can choose from the instruction inside that block. For example, I'll select node 2. This means post notice is skipped and execution begins with node 2. The workflow then continues with node 3. If I select node 3 as start position, then both post notice and node 2 are skipped and execution start directly with node 3. If no start position is specified, execution starts with the first instruction in the selected block. End position before instruction. This option specifies instruction before which order should stop. Let's keep node 2 as the start position and select node 3 as the end position. Now the order starts before node 2 and stops before node 3. As a result, only node 2 is executed. The selected end position itself is not executed. If no end position is specified, execution continues until the end of the selected block. If you'd like to learn more about scope option, you can refer to the tooltips available for each field and context help documentation which provide additional details and example.
Now moving to advanced options section. Here we have priority. This matters when multiple orders compete for same resources. For example, if the workflow uses resource lock instruction that limits parallel execution, then priority determines the position of waiting order in the queue. Priorities can be specified using negative, 0 or positive integers. The available shortcut values are low minus 20,000, below normal is minus 10,000, then we have normal 0, then we have above normal 10,000, high is 20,000. Now let's move to variable section. First we have assign parameterization from schedule. Here if the workflow is assigned a schedule, then this option can be used to copy schedule parameterization such as variables and tag to the current order. As you can see, selecting this option allows us to choose a schedule from list. Next is modify variables. If workflows specify variables without default values, then the current order must specify related values. If the workflows specify variables that are assigned default values, then the link allows selecting a variables for which a new value should be specified. To understand this, let's navigate back to our sample workflow. Here we have workflow variables defined. Some variable contain default values while other requires input field. If a workflow variable has no default value, then the current order must provide a value. For example, here in context video, variable do not have default value. So current order must provide a value. If a variable already has a default value, then you can overwrite it using modify variable. Now let's navigate back to our add order form. And modify variable behaves similar to modify variable but offers all available variables. Let's explore the last section, that is bulk operation section. Here add orders from schedule option. If the workflow is assigned one or more schedules, then for each selected schedule an order parameterized from that schedule can be added using add orders from schedule. For example, if you select the schedule that we have here and click submit, the parameterization from the schedule will be added to the order. Moving to add order. If more than one orders should be added to the workflow, then add order option allows adding another order form. You can fill in the fields according to your preferences as explained above. And finally click submit. You have successfully added an order to the workflow. Thank you for watching.